Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber, and we are talking about podcasts because, yes, you read it right. Shit's Hard has been going on for 1 year. We are celebrating our anniversary around here. Yes. um, Actually, we are a little bit late. I realized that the anniversary was November 14th. But anyways, we are celebrating that, and we are going to be talking a lot about social media, my podcast, kind of how I got started, kind of managing yourself, being your own boss, and where to go next. So let's get into it because I am so excited to talk about this one for a second time. I actually realized that my freaking phone overheated literally 14 seconds into the last one and stopped recording. And yes, I did talk for 27 minutes. Yet 14 seconds in, my phone was like, fuck you. So we love that. But we're not mad. We're not mad. We will just simply do it again. No biggie. I'm just going to keep telling myself that so I don't lose my mind. Okay, well, anyways, let's get into it. If anything, this will be a better version of the first one, hopefully. So yeah, we have been at Shit's Hard for 1 year. I am so excited about that. I'm actually more surprised than anything. Spotify emailed me and was like, happy 1 year. I was like, oh, holy shit. I was like, that's not true. People ask me when I started the podcast and I'm like, March? No, it was literally August 14th. I thought maybe maybe that's when I created the account. No, I went back to the first episode. It was uploaded November 14th. So how exciting. I can't believe I missed the fucking anniversary. How crazy. So I am really proud of myself for that one. Let me give myself a little pat on the back here for just starting something and doing it and just sticking to it for one whole year. I'm really proud of myself. Literally for a whole year, uploading episodes every single fucking Monday. That is crazy to me that I actually did it and stuck to it. And for a whole year, that's just like I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very thankful to you guys, the listeners, who keep coming back every fucking week. Literally, it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy to me that it's been a whole year. But yeah, let's talk about kind of moving forward, and good things take time. And um, we're gonna talk a little bit about like progression and, being patient, in this kind of game, especially in entertainment. Like nothing really happens overnight and things certainly don't happen quickly. It can be really hard and a little bit disheartening to, like right now I'm a year in. And so it's like, oh, do I have a year's worth of work? And I think that I do. I have a shitload up on YouTube. And, I think if I look back with a positive perspective and take a look at like, well, the last episode, this episode looks a lot better than the first one. And we've made a lot of improvements. You can see I've got a new intro video. I've changed the intro video along the way. I've added video along the way. So we've made like adjustments and hopefully gotten a little bit better, and things of, audio quality has gotten better. I've got new tech. So I'm feeling like really grateful when I look back. I'm like, well, we were definitely moving in the right direction, but it can be hard and disheartening in this kind of stuff in social media and content creation and really any kind of big dream in general, that things don't really happen overnight. It's not going to happen quickly. But that's how it's like a good thing and it's like worth it, So yeah, I'm fixated on moving forward and kind of focusing on where to go with it next. Decision making can be kind of tough, especially when you're your own manager, like I said, even in any aspect. So any area of entertainment, when you're just starting out, it's just you. If you're fucking making music, acting, like any kind of influencing, content creation, whatever, that kind of shit. Sorry, stuff. I don't know why I said shit. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but any of that kind of stuff, you start off as your own boss and you really don't know where to go with it. Like I said, I'm going to give myself a fucking pat on the back for even just being here, being in LA for a year and committing to myself and showing up for myself every day. I come from a family of computer engineers. My parents are both software developers. One of them writes code. So like, when I wanted to go in entertainment, I like don't have anyone in my life or my friends or my family. I'm from a small town in Ohio where like nobody could even help me if they wanted to. And so that's a really hard place to start too. A lot of things in life are easier if you're born into it. And I'm not trying to discredit anyone by any means, but certainly if you have that advantage and that's your passion and interest, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, of any opportunity that you can. But it's definitely tougher when you come from like a whole nother world. You know, for me, Los Angeles is a whole nother world. Like, it's insane to be here and like just be opened up to all the things that I did not even know were going on when I was younger. I just like had no fucking clue. Like when I'm like watching TV, I'm like, that's a whole different universe. Like, but hopefully this episode, if anything, serves to you as a little bit of like encouragement and, you know, an example of like, you can fucking do it and it's gonna take time. And I'm not there yet, but I'm certainly on the way. And if you're working on anything, any kind of project that's small, like just dedicate yourself to it and really commit to yourself. And you know, we all start somewhere. You know, I think that's such an important thing to remember. And, you know, like don't let stupid things like age or whatever the fuck get in your way. I know that I can look at things like that too. Even in terms of dancing, like I didn't start taking dance classes until like this past July when I was 23 years old. I wanted to dance when I was like 14, 16. And funny enough, I thought that I was like too old at that point in time to start dancing because people start dancing when they're like 4 and 6. But there's literally no time like the present. And there's all kinds of famous people you can look at, like fucking Oprah, who was nobody when she was 22. So it's like if you're feeling inspired and you're feeling like something is your calling and you want to like dedicate yourself to it, do it. There's like literally no reason not to. As long as you're still alive and breathing, there's still time to do whatever the fuck you want to do. At least that's my perspective on it. So I'll be your number one supporter in that department for whatever the fuck you're trying to achieve. But it's decision making is hard. Managing yourself is hard. Knowing like where to go. The great thing about this generation is we have the internet. It's also the worst thing. But like odds are with whatever you're trying to do or whatever industry you're trying to break into, if you really don't know anybody in there, like I said, I had nobody in entertainment like at all. Like I know one person from my high school who I would consider like a micro influencer, but like even still. And so even still, it's like it's really hard to break into stuff that you know nothing about and just knowing where to start. And especially things that are not like the path is not so clear, such as like things that don't require a college degree, you know, like even like film school. For a lot of people be like, you don't need to go to film school. You don't need to go to this. You don't need to go to acting classes and stuff. And so it's like, it's very hard to find your way and avoid wasting your time and money as well. You know, like especially when you get started on something, odds are you have limited resources. And so you don't have all this money to spend on trying to figure it out, you know, and that makes it tough too. You know, you don't want to get, there's so many like scammy things out there too that are like willing to take your money for whatever bullshit. And so I don't know. It's hard to sift through it all, but the internet is such a tool. Like use the internet to try to figure your shit out. A lot of people luckily make content about making content. You know, like there's plenty of videos on how, you know, certain YouTubers or bloggers or content creators do their thing. How do they make their videos? They're behind the scenes and the equipment that they use and stuff. And the one thing that sucks too is like equipment is definitely expensive. But my advice would be to just get started. You know, like I started with like a $80 Amazon mic, my laptop from high school, which was falling apart, and a $60 ring light on Amazon. So, and I guess like my Adobe subscriptions definitely cost money. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of do have to invest in yourself a little bit, but you can always like make it work with like not like you don't need the most expensive equipment to get started. You can always like work up to that. You know, I'm glad that like I didn't invest money into a new laptop until I was like a year in, until I like really showed myself that like, okay, like this investment's gonna be worth it. And this is definitely the time where it's like necessary. So the time is right and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's hard to keep going, but I think if you can like focus on facing forward, that's really important, and in all aspects of life too. You know, I always compare this to fitness because that's like the other half of my life. But the same is true there. You know, like you can be really dedicated and committed and come in, you know, for 6 months in a row, and you'll definitely see progress and be farther than you were when you started. You might not be at the end goal for sure, but if you focus on the journey and having a good time and focus on facing forward and the things that you have already achieved, you'll only keep achieving more. If you get too stuck in like, oh, it's already been a year and I haven't even done this yet, I haven't even gotten this yet, I haven't even whatever, you'll kind of like be the one standing in your own way, and you definitely don't want to be that. So I right now I'm going through decision fatigue, trying to figure out where I want to go next. If I want to focus on more YouTube videos or TikTok, or I'm starting to think about having guests on the podcast too, which I think could be really, really exciting. But that comes with a lot of logistics and other people's schedules. I think what stresses me out about having guests is like the control. I love right now that I have complete and utter control over everything. But if I have a guest, like I'm subject to like them and their schedule and whatever's going on in their life. So that can be hard too. But that's definitely something that I just need to get the fuck over. I'm excited to start making moves and facing forward and just keep fucking working at this shit. And I'm super excited to have been at this for a year. I can definitely give myself a pat on the back for that at least. And now, looking back, at least I have a whole catalog on YouTube of, a year's worth of fucking videos, which is really cool. So I'm like proud of myself for that. At least there's like something there to stand for what I've been up to for the last fucking year. But recognition feels good too. I the other day I was sitting at the cafe at my gym. I was doing some work. I just kind of like accepted a new role at work, and so I was kind of working on what that was going to look like for me going forward. And this guy came up to me. He's usually at the gym working on stuff and whatever. And I know him, we chit chat and whatever. And so he was like, hey, how's a podcast going? How's this and that? How's sales? I'm like, it's good. I think he used to be a trainer himself, or maybe he still is. So we chit chat about that for a little bit, but he's a lot older than me. And so he mentions, he's like, yeah, I've been listening to your podcast. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that feels so, so good. I love when people say that to me. It's like the best compliment that I can get is like, hey, like I'm like listening to your work. I'm like, oh my God, tell me what you think of it. And he's like, you're really relatable. I think it's really good. You're really brave. It's pretty vulnerable of you to put yourself out there like that and talk about the things that you're struggling with. But I think that's what makes you relatable is a lot of people have gone through that kind of stuff. And so he was like, you're doing great. You're always here with your clients. You're busy. You're taking on this new role and you're always putting up content. And he was like, I'm proud of you. Like, good job. And I just was like, oh my God. Like that felt so good. Like I doubt he even knew like what it meant to me. I'm sure he's gonna listen to this podcast and be like, what the fuck? Not what the fuck, but like I've mentioned before, and anybody who's been listening for a while, like my parents aren't the most like supportive people in my own like entertainment career endeavors and stuff like that. And like I don't think they listen to it or anything like that. And they're not here, so they don't like see me working and hustling and stuff like that. And so like it's kind of something that I've always felt like empty in. Like I'm just like that's my own mental shit is like validating myself and giving myself a pat on the back, which is important too. That's definitely an important thing that I'm learning and working on is trying to give myself that validation and not leaning on other people so much for it. But it definitely feels really good too when it happens and to be recognized and to be told like, hey, like I see you, I see what you're working on, you're doing great. I'm proud of you, keep it up. It just like feels so good. And I took that as like, I want to be this for other people just as well. So that's kind of like the basis of the podcast was one, relatability. I want people to come here and with their thoughts, with their emotions, this is a safe space to be like, oh, like I feel less alone. I've experienced that too. I've felt that too. And at least I'm not the only person who's felt that. So that was like one goal of it. But another is to hopefully like inspire others. Like I hope to God from this specific episode, if you're listening to this, that you take away, like you absolutely are capable of your own shit and your own goals and your own shit that you want to achieve. And you're more than capable. And I'm your number one supporter in that. And I want to be that for other people just as well. I want to be the person coming up to someone being like, hey, I see you working. I see you grinding. You're doing great. Keep it up. Because it's just the best compliment that I've ever received. And it like means the most to me. That's like, my career is really important and probably the most important thing in my life, but also causes me the most stress and anxiety. And, he's right. It is a little bit anxiety inducing and vulnerable to put yourself out there on the internet and talk about your feelings, thoughts, and emotions. It's definitely not like super easy, but for me, like I said, like I hopefully do it for my viewers and that connectivity and sense of community. So definitely all worth it in the end, and it's something that I care deeply about. But it's hard when you care so deeply about something because that's like vulnerable in and of itself. Like if you want to do something big, like become like an actress, a singer, or whatever, and put yourself out there for these big dreams that are really scary and risky and are going to take a lot of work and years of hard work, and they're not going to pay off for a long time. it's pretty vulnerable to say that to the people who know you, because a lot of people who don't have those big dreams and ambitions, or maybe don't believe in themselves, will project that onto you, and they'll look at you and be like, good fucking luck. And what do you have a podcast for, Amber? What do you have to say? Okay, great. Yeah. So you're going to be a podcaster. You know what I mean? And it can be hard to put yourself out there and look at them and be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm committing to myself, and I'm going to do this, and it's going to take a long time and a lot of hard work, but I'm going to do it anyways. So fuck you. um, I think an important thing that I'm learning in regards to my podcast and my own career and content creation and things that I'm working on is confidence in your ability to make decisions. Because like I said, this is a very uncharted territory for me. I really don't always know the best move. I don't know the best decisions. I don't know the best fucking thumbnail for my podcast. I don't know how to make the most perfect one. But I do know that the more content that I push and the more things that I try, the more that I will learn. And when you're in between decisions, the worst thing that you can do is keep one foot out the door. So even if you're not 100% sure, it's really important to commit to yourself and be like, you know what, this is what I'm doing. It would really not be great of me to have a half-assed podcast that I put in 50% effort in, because I'm afraid of people thinking that I'm trying or something like that. It's even if I'm a little bit scared and I'm not sure if this is going to pan out, I'm still going to give it my all and be 100% committed and be like, you know what? I might as well throw all that I have into this and see what comes of it. And in the meantime, it makes me happy and I do enjoy it and I care about it a lot. So fuck it. I'm going to do it. And I don't really care what that looks like to other people. If anything, I hope that it serves as a little bit of inspiring of, if I can do it, some girl from the fucking Midwest who's literally never even had any person in their life in entertainment can just up and move to LA and figure it out, then you absolutely can too. Like I said, I'm not at the finish line yet, but I'm definitely on the way. I'm definitely taking steps that are going to get me there. That's for damn sure. So there's the best goals to have for yourself are going to be the ones that have the longest fucking payoff. It's going to take me a minute to get there, but that's how I know that it's worth it. If the payoff was in fucking 2 months, what kind of payoff would that fucking be? You know what I mean? So funny enough, after that guy had sat down and talked to me about that, right after he walked away, another guy sat down and was like, hey, how are you? Whatever, has a podcast. I'm like, it's good, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're a really hard worker. And I was like, is it my birthday? Because this is all I want ever. This is the number one compliment you can give me is you're really hardworking. I listen to your podcast. I see what you're doing. It's really good. I like the podcast, whatever. All that, anything with me and career drive, and I'm proud of you. That's the number one thing that I crave and I want to hear, that kind of validation. And so for two people to sit down back to back and say that to me, I was like, this is the best day ever. And definitely some really encouraging things that I needed to hear right now. And we've talked about this before. I can be really hard on myself, and I was sick on Monday, Tuesday, and it was kind of difficult for me to stay home, chill the fuck out, and not try to be productive while I'm home from work. Because, I have all this time because I'm homesick. When in reality, I'm sick. Fucking chill the fuck out, relax, sleep, recover, and, you'll be able to be productive later. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was it felt really good to hear from somebody else. Hey, literally two people hey, I see you, you're grinding, you're doing great. And both of those people shared with me kind of the things that they're working on. One of them said he wants to get more into content creation, and it's easier said than done to keep uploading and keep making videos and editing and putting stuff out there. And the other one had said that he wants to get into crypto and Bitcoin, and he's he's trying to figure out how he can make his money, make money. And I was like, amazing. This is so cool. I want to serve as what you just served as for me, for you. I want to give that energy back to you. I believe in you as much as you're believing in me. I see you working hard, and I just I don't know. It was really, really cool. And I love that they shared what they're working on with me too, because that just fills my fucking cup. I love to hear what people are working on. I am your number one supporter. I'm obsessed with career and passions. And with anybody who's close to me in my life, they know I'm your number one fucking supporter. And I am rooting you on for whatever the fuck, your endeavors are, whatever your goals are, whatever you're working on. Maybe in an annoying way for sure. But as soon as someone's I want to do this, I'm let me sit down and get on Google. I'm going to think of 300 ways for you to do that right now. 300 things that you can do right now to get you closer to this goal. Like, all I want to do is see the people around me successful and happy and fulfilled throughout their careers. I don't know why. That's just like, that's me and that's my thing. That's why this podcast is for me. So I can do that for you. So we can all be fucking uplifting each other and moving in the fucking right direction, because I don't know. I think there's something to getting fulfillment from your career and your job. You know, a lot of people work jobs that they really don't like and they don't care much for, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've said a million times, you know, you make your own decisions and you make your bed and you lie in it. But I really have respect for people who are willing to go the extra mile, do the thing that's a little bit harder. It's going to take a lot longer for payoff. You know, you're starting at the bottom and you might know nothing about it, but it's going to be so worth it in the end. And I'm really attracted to people who have these ambitions and passions. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking in the back of your mind about that passion, that dream that was like a little bit too big for you even to say out loud, that's the one. That's the one that I'm talking about. And you're more than capable. And I'm your number one supporter. And let this episode serve as inspiration for you, please, to God. Like, do the thing. Just do the fucking thing. Just get started in the smallest, whatever way that you can. Honestly, my advice to you, with whatever the fuck you're thinking about right now, that big dream in the back of your head that you won't say out loud, get on fucking YouTube and YouTube how to start this, you know? Like, you want to be an actor, you're literally in fucking bumfuck Iowa in the middle of fucking a small town where there's no opportunity for that. Get on Google, get on YouTube, how to become an actress, whatever, start making moves, start making ideas. Do you want to be in New York? Do you want to make the move? Do you want to move to the big city? How much do you want to commit to this? You're more than capable, and I am rooting for you for sure. There are ways, and use the internet to your advantage, and I'm excited for you. So that's the shit that we're working on this week, is going to be making moves, facing forward, being confident in your decision making. You know, when I decided to move to LA, obviously a lot of people were like, this is concerning. What are you doing? You don't have a job there. You don't have a way to make money there. Both my parents, even to this day, my parents have still brought up architecture and be like, well, you know, you could always fall back on that, which is true. I can, if I really fuck up, I can fall back on that. But I'm not there yet. I'm not even close to falling back on that yet. And we're not going to have to fall back on that. So, I mean, I'm definitely not going to have to, because I like my job right now anyways. But shit we're working on this week is going to be moving in the right direction, taking those extra steps. You know, these big dreams that you have in the back of your mind, it's going to be a bunch of small steps in the right direction. It's never going to be one big step. I mean, don't get me wrong. Me moving to Los Angeles was a pretty big step. But it wasn't like I'm not at the finish line. You know what I mean? That was a pretty big step. But even right now, every day, you know, every week, every Thursday that I take to record these episodes and edit them and then I try to make TikToks and this and that. These are all little things that I'm trying to push and push and push to get myself just one step further, one step further, one step further. So, it's a fucking journey, but if you can learn to love the journey, then it's not going to be so bad. But the shit that I'm wondering this week is, what projects are y'all working on? You know what I mean? I'm so fucking grateful for anybody who's been here with Shit's Hard since day one for one whole year. How fucking exciting. How many more years to come? I'm so excited. So thank you for being here with me. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you're working on. You know, I know you motherfuckers be listening to this podcast for a year, definitely have your own fucking big ambitions and bullshit. You would not sit here and listen to me talk about myself if you didn't have your own shit that you were working on. So please share with me, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're working on. I am so excited to hear it. And I will be your number one supporter in that endeavor. And how exciting, truly how exciting. If you're at the beginning of a journey right now, the world is truly your oyster. Is it the world is your oyster? The sea is your... That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to have to Google that later. But the world is truly yours for the taking either way. And so I think when someone comes to me and is like, hey, I think I've decided, I want to actually pursue fashion. You know, I want to actually pursue photography. I want to put everything that I have into music. I'm like, yes, fuck yes. That's so fucking exciting. How crucial is this moment right now that you're telling me this? Because you're going to be successful. It's not if and or buts. You're going to be. And when you are in 4 or 5, 10 years or whatever, we're going to look back at this moment and be like, remember when you told me that you wanted to be a fucking photographer? That was crazy. And I feel so excited when somebody tells me that because I'm like, special me. I get to be a part of the beginning of this journey. How fucking cool. I'm like, it's right at the beginning of your success story. Like, who knows what direction we're going to go in this? You know what I mean? Like, who knows what's in store to come? But I bet it's great. I'm sure it's phenomenal. And I can't wait to fucking like see this journey play out. Like, it's like a movie is starting. I'm here. I'm at the beginning. I'm watching the beginning of the movie. Like, amazing. How cool. How exciting. Tell me what you're working on. I must know. So that is what I've got for you this week. If you want to hear more from me, see more from me, you can follow my Instagram, TikTok at Amber Meisner with 2 R's. And I will see you in the next one, because this is definitely hard.